What do you allow to define you? Next on The Weekly. There's a quote that says, whatever you allow to define you will determine your destiny. Let me say that again. Whatever you allow to define you will determine your destiny. There are many things in our lives that we allow to define who we are. We wrap our identity up into that one particular thing. It may be your job. It may be your education. It may be relationships. Whatever it is, when you wrap your identity into that specific area, then it determines what you do after that. So in my case, if I wrap my entire identity into being a lead pastor of a church, then it determines where I go from there. And when I no longer am that lead pastor, who am I? That's why it's so important for us to live Romans 8 this week. In Romans 8, it says that we haven't received the spirit of bondage again through Christ. We have experienced and received the spirit of adoption by which we can cry out, Abba, Father. What does that mean? That means we are sons and daughters. We are children of God. Romans 8 goes on to say, we shall be called the sons of God. We are the children of God. When you wrap your identity up into a position, when you no longer have that position, then you're lost, you're lonely, you're depressed, all of those things because you wrapped it up in that. So this week, live Romans 8. Wrap your identity into being a son and a daughter of God, who you are in Christ. You know, life isn't about titles. It's not about positions. Really, life is about responsibility. We gave the quote earlier this week to a crowd of people that if I am no longer a pastor, or if I am no longer this or this or this, it doesn't define who I am because I'm not allowing that to define who I am. If I'm not called pastor, it still doesn't change my responsibilities. I'm still responsible to be the leader of this church, of the healing place. Don't allow your job, your education, your relationships to define you. Let Christ be the definition of who you are. You are a son and you are a daughter of God. Man, God bless you guys. Hey, read Romans 8 this week. Read it for yourself. Get it into your spirit journal. Just write down what God's speaking to you so you can be who God's created you to be. Know what he's saying to you and then do what he says. God bless you. See you next week.